Okay, let's start the game by going through a couple of turns. And in this movement chart, it tells you exactly what you need to do in one turn. So we'll start with drawing the movement back to begin the game. Now, I've taken some meeples to represent where your ship will be in the zone once we draw them. Let's draw the first card. This is Zone 4. You can see that it says Zone 4, enemy ship has gone to full power. During the navigational phase, no rolling required. Enemies charging weapons. 2 shots at 3 plus. So that what happens is you take your little meeple here that represents your starship. You go to Zone 4, and the enemy usually will roll for navigation, but in this, the fluff on the card actually overrides the navigation. So it says no navigation required, and the enemy is actually going to start shooting at us. You can fire 2 shots at us. So to represent that, we'll just take 2 red dice, and over here it says enemy attack. We'll just put those dice there. Now we'll go for the next sequence, which is, if you look at this card, it says roll for navigation. We don't have to do that because that overrides this. We'll go straight to the play command phase. Play command phase. Now, the objective to this game is actually to destroy the enemy ship before the deck runs out, where the enemy will destroy the space station. We don't want that to happen. So in order to destroy the enemy ship, we need to bring our guns in bear. Our weapons, I mean. So we'll look at what weapons we have. I mean, this is a run through to the weapon system is we have a long range weapon, a mid range weapon, and a short range weapon. Now, the long range weapon has a zone from 2 to 4, and it's a one-shot weapon. So, seeing that we're actually in zone 4, we can only fire this weapon because the next weapon is actually the missiles, and that's zone 1 to 2, and obviously the laser turrets is one zone, so that's no good. So what can we do now? We might want to bring our ship closer to the enemy ship. So during a command phase, there's actually a command that says, if you can see it over here, it says all power to the engines. And then your ship can move 2 zones. I think that's a great idea. So let's try doing that. But in order, we'll issue that command to go full power to the engines. In order to do that, there is a penalty where we have to see how much our reactor will overload. So let's roll the dice. We roll a 6. Now, rolling a 6, it actually means that that's actually really bad. If I roll a 1 to 5, my reactor only go up by 1, but if it's 6, so it goes up by 2. So we're pushing the reactor by 2. 1, 2. Now, a bit about the reactor. If the reactor crosses the 6th level, our weapons go offline. That's no good. So that's pretty close already, because I didn't expect it to go up to level 3 so quickly. But because of that, I get to push the ship 2 zones. 1, 2. What does it do? It brings my long-range weapon in range and my mid-range weapon in range, which are the missile launchers. Now, because I've changed zones, the enemy will not change what it's going to do, because in navigational, if it says it's going to fire at you, they will fire still, even though the zones have changed. So don't worry about that. So next is the engineering crew. What would I like to do? That's a good question. What I'll do now, since my shields are all full power and the reactor is it's not too bad. What I'm going to do is I'm going to charge power to a weapon, a beam weapon, which you can in the profile here. If I charge my particle beam cannon, I can fire 2 shots, but the reactor goes up by one level up. So I'm going to fire 2 shots with this fella, and I'm going to push my reactor just to level 4, which is pretty close. And finally, I'm it's the gunnery phase, which is actually the attack phase. And what can I do? Since my shields are at full, I might go lock on target and I get to reroll one failed attack. I'm gonna do that right now. Now in combat, when I'm doing an attack, I can fire my particle beam cannon and my missile launchers. My particle beam cannon is a strength 6 weapon. Strength 6. In order to do a successful damage on the enemy, we have to roll for one shot a dice roll that can beat the enemy's defense, which is 9. So if this strength 6, we need a number 4 to be equal, 4 and above, to beat the defense 9. So I'm going to roll one dice first and see if I make any damage. I roll a 5. Rolling a 5 means strength 6 plus 5 is 11. That means I get a successful hit. Now because I roll a 5 or a 6, the special rules here stipulates that I actually do a penetrating hit. So instead of taking one shield away, I actually score a hull damage on the enemy. Now that was just one shot, but because in my engineering phase, repair phase, I did a charge weapons. So there we go. It says here, charge weapon. I get to fire another shot. So I'm gonna roll the dice again and hopefully score another hit. I roll a 6. That's really good. The great thing about the PBC or the particle beam cannon is every time you roll a 5 or a 6, you score a penetrating hit. So what I've done is I've removed another shot, another hull from the enemy's the enemy's ship. So because I'm still in zone 2, the missile launchers are actually within range, and it says here I can fire 2 shots with the missile launcher at strength 5. So basically I can roll the dice twice and making 2 shots. We'll just roll it separately. The first shot we go 3 plus 5 is a 8, and that defense is 9, so nope, didn't score a hit. So the next shot 5, strength 5 is 10, that beats 9. I score a hit on the enemy. Now because it's not a special weapon, it's just a normal attack weapon, you have to remove its shield. So the enemy have lost 1 shield and 2 hull from this attack sequence. Now apart from that, we have assets that we can play, or rather it can tell you when to play it anytime. So before I want to end the turn, maybe I could actually play this card called Fresh Fuel Cells to reduce my reactor. So I'm going to discard this particular card. It says discard this card to reduce 2 reactor power overload, which means if I discard this right now, I gain 1, 2 back. So that's one turn. Now, after you've done your attack, the enemy is going to do its attack or repair. But in this case, because the scanner said the enemy is going to attack, it's going to take 2 attacks on you, which means, if you look at this, 2 shots at 3+, which means the enemy is going to roll 2 attacks on you. On a 3+, you will score a hit on your ship. So let's have a look. Oops, that doesn't count. So it scores a 1 hit and 1 miss. So because of 1 hit, you lose 1 shield. So that's the end of 1 turn. And after that, you draw the next card, which is a really bad card as well. Zone 4, I'm still in zone 4. So the ship goes back to zone 4, and you start all over again. Okay, I gotta read this. It It says here, enemy ship fires an EMP shock wave. Reactor overload goes up by 1. Ship loses 1 shield. If the player has no shields, ignore. So my reactor go up by 1, which is was lucky that we played a few cells. If not, my weapons would be offline. And I lose 1 shield. So like lose 1 shield. And then it says here as well, during the play's repair phase, you may not issue any commands to the engineering crew, which is really bad. And during the navigational phase, if the enemy is charging weapons, enemy ship +1 extra shot. Oh boy. So let's see what. So the next phase is the enemy navigational. Let's see what the enemy is doing. If the enemy is charging weapons at us, which I hope they're not, it could be really bad. Ooh, roll a 2. So if you look at this profile here, oops. No, not this one. Oh, I have to read it to you because that was a really old card. If the enemy is in zone 4, that's zone 4. If you roll a 1 to 2, the enemy is going to charge weapons and it's going to do 3 shots at you. But because of this particular card, it says if the enemy is actually going to charge the weapons, the ship gains another additional +1 attack. So which means during the enemy's attack phase, instead of firing just 3 normal attacks at you, it's going to add an additional. So it's going to be 4 attacks on our ship, regardless of what we do. So enemy attack phase, I'm just going to put 4 dice here so I remember that. That's no good. There we go. Okay. Now, enemy navigational phase is done. Now we move to command phase. Play command phase. What do we do? I could potentially get hit all 4 shots and lose a shield. But I'm a bit. I will sacrifice shooting right now and probably buffer up. So I'm going to issue all powder shields, and for that I gain 2 shields back at the cost of 1 reactor power, which is pushing that to number 4. Gain 2 shields back. Engineering repair phase. Oh, because of this funky little fluff here, it says during the play's repair phase, you may not issue any orders or commands to your engineering crew. Great. So we're not going to do that. So we're going to. And you know what I'm going to do? I am just going to shoot my PBC, because the PBC is in range 4, which we are in range 4. And I get 1 shot because I did not charge my weapons. So let's see what I get. I rolled 2. Oh, that's strength 6 plus 2 is 8. So I miss. That didn't do anything. So the enemy retaliates in the enemy attack phase. And the enemy only needs to roll a 3 plus to hit. So we've got 1, 2, 3 shots and 1 miss. So we lose 3 shields. That's the second turn. So let's